Hello, high tier players. So in this video, we want to give a little update on where wins meet. Going to give you a couple of tips and tricks with the items that they've been sending us for rewards and correcting one mistranslated event that's going on right now. I think that the English translation, or AI English translation rather, was pretty garbled, and I wanted to clarify a few things that were pointed out to me by some of my friends. Okay, so coming on over here to the event pages, most of this is self-explanatory and we are high tier players here, so we're able to read and comprehend. But this, even if you can read and comprehend, is going to be confusing because the English translation is a little bit garbled. So this was called a double energy event, I think, on the roadmap, and that's not correct. So what it actually means is it gives you a limited number of double reward attempts. As you can see, I've already used mine up. But these are refreshed weekly. That'd be on the Thursday reset for the battle passes. And they are used per item slot that you redeem. So if you're using triple or quadruple redeems, that's the extra level that's been unlocked for the event. Usually that's unavailable to us at this level, but they've done so for the event. So the triple and the quadruple redeems will use anywhere between 6 and 12 of these double reward attempts, depending on your luck, of course. So if you have some decent luck and you're getting 8 to 10, each one, and these are just outpost redeems that I'm using these as an example from. Each outpost will use 8 to 10 of these, so you'll only be able to do one run through or so before you go through all of your weekly attempts, and then you got to wait till next week for them to reset. They do, however, give you extra items, and that's what they mean by extra energy. It's not actually extra energy, it's an extra item gained by what would usually cost you energy, and these are labeled too. When you see your drops, you'll see the items having a little extra word labeled on the bottom, and that means that it's used one of the reward attempts successfully. So that's what these actually mean, and we will be getting another round of these next week on Thursday. All right, so next I want to share my strategy for using these temporary pillow pills. Now that we've been getting these through the My New Spring gifts, we're already on the 3rd out of 14, so we're going to have a total of 28 of these, I think, at the end, because they've been giving us 2 at a time. And my strategy going forward is I noticed that there's a time limit on these, and it expires just before the update goes live for the first Hexi area in March. So since there's going to be new outposts and probably new materials that we have to farm, new Ebon ores, especially from the new outposts, we're going to need a lot of energy to make sure that we can stockpile those as soon as possible, because there's either going to be an update or there's going to be a maintenance leading into the update right before this time period. So I'm going to stockpile all 28 of these, and make sure that my energy is overflowing just before we go down for either maintenance or the update. So when it comes back up, as soon as we're able to access the new area, I'm in there, I'm using all the energy as possible with all the new outposts, and farming up all those new materials as fast as possible. So I figured anybody else out there that wants to do the same, they should probably strategize in the exact same way. Now the permanent pills, I know I already used a lot of these for this tier because I mistakenly thought that we were already slowing down. That's my bad. But my advice for anybody else out there who isn't stupid like me, go ahead and hang on to these. These probably shouldn't be used until the tier 91, and it looks like that's going to be season 3 for us right now from what they've told us. So wait till next season to use the permanent pills, stockpile these temporary pills for right now, use them just before the maintenance or the update goes down. Now, I was going to do a whole strategy guide section for the 3-on-3 mode, but if I'm being entirely honest, this last update, I don't know what happened, but the games have been crashing a whole lot more for my friends and I, and also I've noticed the lag is significantly worse. And I mean, like, very, very noticeably worse, especially if you're playing in the higher level PvPs. You noticed it because you suddenly can't fight against certain weapon types. Like dual blade users that don't have lag versus me lagging, it's impossible. You can't actually make up for the time differences that you're seeing in the animations. So I was going to write a strategy guide for all this stuff, but until they fix the lag problems, if I'm being honest with you, I actually can't recommend that anybody do PvP right now. The 1-on-1s, 3-on-3s, Perception Forest, guild versus guild, it doesn't seem to matter. All these multiplayer PvP modes are really, really bad right now, simply because the lag makes it unplayable. And you can't play any of these modes, doesn't matter how many they put in, if the lag and the latency isn't fixed. So until they make some serious upgrades to their servers, I don't know exactly what they're going to have to do, what kind of techno magic they're going to have to work, but they need to figure out something quickly, because right now those modes are pretty much the only thing keeping the game alive. There's not a whole lot going on right now when it comes to the story or PvE, and that's not going to really change a whole lot except for the story portion when we get the new regions. The Hexi regions, of course, are going to have nice new quests and story parts that go with them. However, they don't really give you a whole lot more PvE content other than the form of new stuff that you already are used to, new sword trials, new world bosses, stuff like that. It's not going to add any new events, and it's not going to add anything that's really going to capture a lot of the MMO PvE audience. So a lot of these people, which, by the way, for us PvPers, I know we're kind of sitting here right now just like, it's all right. If you could deal with the lag and the latency, we're at least somewhat satisfied because we have lots of modes to play. They don't have anything new coming to them right now, and they won't have anything new coming to them for the rest of the season. So if you're a PvE enjoyer or you're a solo enjoyer, which probably means you're PvE, I really think this season is going to be kind of dry for you. The entire first year of Chinese development for the Chinese version looked almost entirely PvP focused. And they said as much going forward that they're going to try to do the PvE sections now. We'll see. But we didn't see any development of that for the entire first year, so that's kind of up in the air. And I know a lot of you just don't really want to wait around forever for that, and I get that. I really do. So for the MMO PvE crowd, yeah, you're going to be waiting a little while, and you're going to have to be satiated in the meantime with the story quests and the available world boss content that's going to come with the new regions of Hexi. There are going to be 3 portions of it, though, however, so there should be, at least for 3 months of March, April, and May, a decent chunk of content every single month. As for the rest of the game, I've already seen that a lot of channels are covering the one-on-one aspects and strategies pretty decently, and I don't really have any interest in playing these modes just yet because of the lag that has kind of plagued the entirety of the length of the game. But 3-on-3s, even with the lag, has been at least decently playable, and I have figured out some decent strategies for climbing that as well. So I'll do a guide to Mythic as soon as I finish the climb. I'm currently in Legend. So until next time, stay up on that high tier, players. The view from up here is always worth it.